6 years ago, riding down the coast of California on that bike ride that I do for Challenge Athletes Foundation, 700 miles in 7 days.
Crazy, man.
Got back in the shape of my life, and suddenly I started feeling this cramp in the back of my shoulder, okay? 4 days later, lying in the hospital, fluid around my heart. What that means is fluid around your heart is not heart disease, it's inflammation. And ever since then, this thing called C-Reactive protein in my personal body
What the hell?
has been off the charts, and I have done everything, including having a full knee replacement. I mean, I've done every single thing you could do to reduce inflammation. And I will tell you, I went online and looked up this company called Cardax Pharma after our producer, Greg Todoroff, told me about this company.
How you feeling?
And I started taking this, I forget it's called Zithro, he's going to tell me in a minute. But I started taking this even before I knew this guy.
Yeah.
And it has completely changed my life. And this guy's not a sponsor. He just happens to be the CEO of a company called Cardax. His name is David Watumull. He's the CEO. David, thank you so much for coming in. You had no idea, did you?
I did not.
I spent $39 on that bottle on Amazon.
Well, we should get you a sample.
Well, you should.
Yeah, go out to the car, hurry back.
So you're a biotech guy for 20 years.
Absolutely.
And you were an investment banker. You're an analyst, so you probably liked my analysis of technical analysis.
I do.
Is that, if there was ever a strong buy, it'd be the NASDAQ right now, right?
That's not bad.
So talk to us about, you're the co-founder of Cardax. Talk about Cardax, what you guys do. And honestly, they're not a sponsor, but I failed to tell anybody this, that before I even knew you, and I didn't realize till doing research on you, you're the same guy.
Yeah.
I found this yesterday. So yeah, so I'm going to your bottom line already. So talk about the product, talk about what you guys are up to.
Yeah, great. You had mentioned inflammation. We think inflammation is really one of the, probably the key unmet medical need that's out there today.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And in my body.
Yes.
It's in everyone,
Yeah.
actually. There's a major news study that came out about a year ago in the New England Journal of Medicine, and it was done with 10,000 patients in cardiovascular patients who had already had a heart attack or a stroke, and they were already treated with everything that you already get, statins, everything else, but they still had elevated inflammation. They were given a drug that had no impact on their lipids, but when it reduced inflammation, as you mentioned with CRP, C-reactive protein,
Yes, right.
below a certain level,
Yeah.
they reduced the subsequent heart attacks and strokes by 25%
Oh, my
and
God.
death by 30%.
And that's that thing they find in salmon, right?
It is indeed. Well, not in this study. This study was a study done with an injected drug.
Okay.
That's very, very expensive. Costs $200,000 a year. And by the way, has fatal infections as side effects.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's that fine
you
print.
feel better for a while.
Yeah. May cause anal leakage. What? Wait a minute, I don't
It's
want
like
this.
prednisone. Prednisone makes you feel fantastic for like 3 days. And all of a sudden your face blows up and you die from it.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, and so the real key is what this showed everyone is that if you can get something that can address your inflammatory health safely, that's the goal.
So and everything in your body then would be less inflamed, if you will, because I'll have a knee, I'll have a couple fingers, and a neck. Maybe it's inflammation.
Well, I mean, brain inflammation is one of the key contributors to.
Is that my problem?
Well, yeah, not because you have a large brain.
Probably since middle school.
That's it. I'm inflamed.
So tell us how you took that study and took the next leap to where you have a publicly traded company. By the way, the name of the company, Cardax Pharma. And I will tell you, after doing research on Cardax, and you're looking at cardax.com, cardaxpharma.com is the website. But how did you take that leap from reading this study and all 20 years in biotech and investment banking to where you're now?
Well, we had been working on this program well before the study came out. So in some ways, we feel the science came to us and has validated what we've thought for a long period of time. But what really got me going was the understanding that this compound that makes salmon pink, as you mentioned, called astaxanthin. Astaxanthin is hard to produce. Took me about 6 months in front of the mirror to get it right. But that's the.
You mean saying it? Astaxanthin.
You got it.
There it is.
You got it.
Well, there it is.
Yes, indeed. There it is. It's the compound that makes salmon pink. But it turns out that it's also very potent anti-inflammatory that can really impact inflammatory health. And inflammatory health is cardiovascular health, it's brain health, it's liver health, it's joint health, et cetera, et cetera. And because when you look at the molecular activity that's going on in all those different diseases, we have different doctors.
Right.
But molecularly, they're very similar, very similar.
So obviously there's the. I love this when CEOs come in, and I don't think people. This is a pretty well kept secret, but it's not. It wasn't meant to be kept a secret. When a CEO comes in and says selling the product or the drug, you guys are instead. I'm gonna treat the problem. I'm gonna sell the problem I'm treating. Is what you guys are really doing here. And that's a difference. I think when we listen, after 22 years of radio and 12 years of TV. We've interviewed everyone from Steve Forbes to Steve Jobs, and I will tell you, the CEOs that come out and start the process of the business or the concept and what are we solving versus what are we selling.
There you go.
That's how they start. And that's exactly what you guys have done here. So talk about the business itself.
Yeah, so what we believe is that if you can really come forward with a version of astaxanthin that the physicians and the scientific community can feel comfortable with. The problem with dietary supplements, and our compound or our product is a dietary supplement, is that you're not sure what's in it. Maybe this plant crop was different than that.
Right.
Maybe,
sure. Oh, yes.
And so physicians are not comfortable with that.
Right.
And what we tried to do was to marry the science of manufacturing with the understanding of a natural compound that's very, very safe, but yet is a powerful anti-inflammatory for inflammatory health.
And you can have consistency then with whatever's going over.
We know exactly what's in every capsule.
Right.
And that makes physicians very comfortable. When we go out and give talks at conferences to physicians, 100 physicians.
I think we have a picture, by the way. And by the way, the name of the product is Xanthocin. Xanthocin.
Is it?
Wait. Hang on a second. Xanthocin.
You
can actually get it on Amazon.
You can, or
that's where I got it.
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon, or it's actually at GNC stores as well. But this is a picture of physicians lining up to get samples after we go through the science with them. So they understand it, and also a big part of this is how it's manufactured. What is the purity, the precision, et cetera.
Well, there's a big secret here, and I'm not going to bring it up yet. We're going to keep you here. But
Darn it.
There's a huge secret. I will tell you, I'll give you a hint.
Oh, boy.
He was talking about the study with the injectable. It was a fantastic injectable, and it worked until it about killed you with chronic side effect. And then there's prednisone, which works like when I had my knee surgery done, I felt like I was 16 years old for about 6 days, and all of a sudden you start dying.
Wow.
There's a difference here, and the difference is
blank.
I'll tell you in a minute.
I will fill in the
That's
blank.
how it works. Cardax Pharma, cardexpharma.com. By the way, they're publicly traded CDXI. CDXI is their stock symbol. David Watumull is our guest. I'm going to keep him. He was,
Are we having lox?
He said, I'm not
cream
letting-
cheese?
Yeah.
Either a salmon time?
Wait a second.
Big Biz Show, bigbizshow.com. Great to have you along today. Sully, Rusty Nails, russisfunny.com because...
Russ is fatandbald.com was taken.
Right, there you go.
So, had to go with funny.
Hey, David Watumull's with us. He is the CEO of a really cool company called Cardax Pharma. CDXI is their stock symbol. Yes, they're publicly traded. This is one of the best things about this show is that we get to talk to publicly traded companies. You get to get the CEOs. That rarely happens. And yes, 150 radio stations in 175 countries and 110 million TV homes. You can't find one other CEO of a public company. We got him here. So just to review, inflammation plays probably the biggest role in chronic disease and aging. All right. There's been several studies to try to beat inflammation. I think the most.
What causes that mostly? Salt?
Yeah, salt. That's it. You nailed it. Put salt out of your diet, you cured it. Rusty Nails, everybody.
Thank you. Well, someone said...
It's disease.
Oh,
it's disease.
But sometimes you just feel puffy.
But no, it's not. That's
Well,
that's water weight gain. I'm telling you, inflammation. Inflammation is the root of all evil in your body, including Alzheimer's down to cancer and anything else. It's inflammation. So I think I always say prednisone because I always hear people on prednisone. It works really great. It also makes your face this big, and it'll kill you after a while. It makes you grow hair where you don't want it, and all that. I mean, and there's tons of side effects. Right now, there isn't anything on the market that you can take as an anti-inflammatory, prescription, non-prescription, holistic, Eastern, Western, nothing.
No.
Until. Ready?
Drum roll. Dramatic pause.
I have no drum roll.
Oh,
until now.
Yeah,
Am I accurate by saying that?
We think you are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think I am too. Listen, I will tell you this, and I can say this, and these guys are not sponsors of the program. This is just something that our listeners and our viewers told one of our producers about. Our producer got him on the air with us. I started looking at the company, and I realized I already purchased the product. you guys, there isn't anything safe on the market that doesn't cause chronic side effects until now. So talk about the product itself, because the product itself is called xanthocin.
Attaboy.
Xanthocin.
Yes.
That's
Xanthocin.
Yeah, xanthocin. There
Sure.
you go. There you go.
Yeah.
I'll drink to that.
Yes.
And it's just a capsule, right?
It is a capsule, and
All right.
what we do is make a nature identical copy of what you find in salmon or shrimp or lobster.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have the precision
Yeah.
that scientists and physicians like, and because we, as I mentioned earlier, we know exactly what's in every capsule.
That was one of my questions. You know, you originally found it. It's organic. It's already in the world. You just figured out how to make it, and therefore, you know exactly how potent it is. You know how long it's going to last. Does it last longer than just squeezing the pink out of a salmon, or
Well, I think
bigger shelf
Wait,
life?
squeezing the pink out of salmon could mean
Hey,
a lot of things.
hey, that's what I'm
gonna
saying.
Squeeze the pink out of your salmon.
You know,
can
yeah.
I say this? You made a great point with the first start of the program, and that's physicians don't like holistic medicine for a number of reasons. I think most notably is that it's not controllable enough, like biopharma really is.
Right.
You guys have really developed the first physician-friendly, and I think you call it nature identical.
I love that one.
Astaxanthin, right?
Yes, exactly. And we have a particular formulation that actually gives it bioavailability. So when you take it, it gets in your bloodstream. We can measure it.
It knows where to go and all that.
It
yeah.
measures. We can measure it in your bloodstream. That's the kind of science
Yeah.
that scientists and physicians feel comfortable with.
Sure.
And so we've been able to do that.
Talk about the company itself. So Cardax Pharma creating this product called, which by the way, Rusty,
Yeah.
of all the stuff that you're complaining about in your life, your
So I was just thinking here.
flip-flop feet, you wouldn't have to wear yoga shoes anymore. Go buy some xanthocin. Xanthocin.
Yeah.
Xanthocin.
Xanthocin.
It is, but I'll tell you,
Well, if it ends in sin,
I started taking it 11 days ago before
Yeah.
I knew anything about you. And it like, honestly, it doesn't take a week. It takes like 2 days later, and you're like, okay, it's actually working. I can feel it. Because you can feel when you have it.
I would think
you can feel it.
Everybody's inflamed somewhere.
That's exactly right.
Right?
GNC, Amazon is where you can buy the product. Talk about your company itself. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, so we've developed this product. We are working with GNC. We have a great relationship with GNC.
Good.
They have a sales team in many stores, like in California, for example, understand the product.
What it's doing.
And understand the role of inflammatory health
Yeah.
to your overall well-being, and are able to help out and to recommend, when appropriate, something for your inflammatory health. And we introduced it first in Hawaii about a year and a half or so ago.
And you got picked up by GNC. That is not an
that's
easy
a big-
task. How did you break down that wall?
Big distribution there.
Well, I happened to be at a dinner with the head of GNC in Hawaii. We started talking about it, and
that was it, huh?
Well, we didn't go together to the dinner.
Right.
We just happened to be at a sporting event, dinner.
Oh, that's perfect.
And we sat down and got up 3 hours later and said,
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
that is
fantastic.
great.
And we did it in Hawaii, and we're the best-selling product at GNC in Hawaii.
Now, my friend used to.
See, I'm telling you right now, but I will tell you because I don't endorse anything.
Right.
Ask Greg Todoroff, who used to freaking try to sell endorsements for me. I don't endorse. Do I, Greg?
Greg? Nope, not Sully.
I don't do it.
I had a friend that would eat.
And this guy's not even paying me to do it. I'm doing it.
Before he'd golf, he'd eat like 3 or 4, I think, or Advil or whatever it was,
Yeah.
because he had
Chronic inflammation.
And then it started to screw up his stomach. So now he's feeling good in the joints, but now he's got problems from eating the stuff.
So once again, you're down to
Not good.
the fact there's no anti-inflammatories that are safe enough for chronic use until now, and I think that's a big piece of this thing.
Yeah, exactly. And so what we're doing with GNC is to really try to get this message out.
Yeah,
right.
That inflammatory health is something that most of us have an issue with.
Yeah.
And that there is something now
Yeah.
that is safe.
Right.
It has something, a designation called GRAS, generally recognized as safe. That's an FDA process.
Okay.
None of the other ones that you've mentioned, of the other anti-inflammatories, from the steroids
Right.
to the ibuprofen
Yeah, that
or
stuff.
aspirin,
Yes.
none of those are safe enough
Right.
to get that kind
This
of
is the perfect
designation.
intersection of medicine and science at the same time without having poison in there. Because every time I take a pill for something, I'm thinking I'm putting poison in my body.
Well, it's the intersection of science and medicine and nature
There you go.
together.
What was that? Nature
Nature
match?
Identical.
Identical.
Nature identical.
Nature
Oh,
identical.
yeah.
Nature
Stealing that. Thanks,
Yeah.
buddy. Thanks for coming in. See ya.
Yeah, it's nature. What is the I guess the adoptability with physicians? I mean that's got to be where the needle's moved here the most.
Well, what's
right?
really interesting is when we talk to, give a lecture at a conference, when we show them the science behind it, show them the safety behind it, show them the 1,600 peer-reviewed papers. We don't do all 1,600,
Right.
but we give a summary of them. As you saw in the picture earlier, the physicians have stood in line to get samples.
Yeah, look at that, Jared. Pull that picture up again. Those guys. I mean, these guys. So you're talking to them, and all of a sudden, because listen, to move that needle, that's a tough needle. These
Yes.
guys are all phisians, and there goes Russ. Russ
Yeah.
is going to stand in
I'm
line.
going to get in line right back here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, just wait.
Yeah. Yeah. But they ask questions, and and they feel comfortable with it because they know the role of inflammation.
Listen,
in their
you need
practice.
to be a regular on this program and talk about this. David Watumull is his name. He's the CEO and co-founder of Cardax Pharma. CardaxPharma.com. By the way, they're publicly traded CDXI, but go buy some Xanthocin. Xanthocin is the name of the product. We'll definitely be talking more about it. Dave, thanks so much. We're going to have you back. Appreciate it. There we go. Big Biz Show.
Yep, we'll be right back.
Gonna walk him out to the car. Better.